A space heater could be the perfect solution for taking the chill off of your room, but how do you know which space heater is right for you? We are huge fans of finding ways to stay warm in your home without turning up that thermostat. And if there's only one or two of you at home during the day, then space heaters can be that perfect solution for you. We've talked a lot on this channel about ways that you can spend less on your energy costs. In fact, we did a video where we gave you 25 different ideas, including space heaters, on how you can reduce your utility bill. We're going to make sure that that video, in case you want to watch it after this one, we'll link it at the end of this video. We'll also put it right up top there so you can watch it in just a little bit. Larry and I, as I mentioned, are huge fans of space heaters.
Yes.
Now, we've had one for a long time, but we only had one. And we realized recently that it just really wasn't fulfilling the purpose that we needed it to. So we started researching space heaters, and we have a list of questions that you want to ask yourself about your space heater need before you purchase that space heater. We're going to show you 3 different models of space heaters that we got.
The heaters we'll be using in this video were sent to us by Dreo, but the opinions about them will be our own.
This whole space heater journey began for us a few weeks ago because of our downstairs bathroom. Come with me. We'll go take a look and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Welcome to the very cold, very small downstairs bathroom. It's been remodeled, so it looks pretty good, but you just can't get away from the fact that there's not a lot of space here. I'm going to show you. This is the dryer. And here is the downstairs sink. There's about 34 inches between the front of the dryer and the front of the sink. Not a lot of space there. In fact, if I laid down, you would see that my body would cover almost the entirety of the floor. Why is that a problem? Because this wall behind me, clearly this is an outside wall, and this room gets so cold in the winter time. So we had a solution. The solution is right down here. This very old, very noisy heater from probably the 1960s. It just was not a good solution. And Larry said, what about a wall heater? I said, I don't think they make small wall heaters. And we found out, oh yes, they do. Dreo makes one, and let us show you what it looks like, how it functions in this room, because it's done a really great job for us, and it's under $100, guys. When Larry started looking at this heater from Dreo, there were 2 questions I immediately asked him. I wanted to make sure that, let's say we had a young person or a grandchild over, because it only sits about 3.5 feet off the floor. You didn't want a young person to be able to touch it and turn it on and then leave it on and leave the room. Dreo designed this heater so that it does have a child lock on it so that that will not happen. The other thing that I really wanted to make sure was that these levers, that these don't just go straight out. I wanted to be able to direct them a little bit. You have to do it manually, but you can direct this flow of air by about 30 degrees, and that seems to be enough to sort of directionally put the air exactly where we want it in the room.
One of the things you want to consider when you're getting a space heater for your home is where are you going to put it and how are you going to use it? One of the things that we really needed for this bathroom was a space heater that was off the floor. It was pretty small because this room is very small, so we didn't want a big one. We were so pleased to find this nice Dreo wall heater. It's only a foot wide, 16 inches tall, and it only fits out from the wall about 4.5 inches, so it's pretty flush. Another thing I like about it is that it has 3 power settings. The first one is 900 watts, the second one is 1300, and the third one, which is called H3, is 1500 watts, and that puts out a good amount of heat to bring this room up to temperature. The next consideration that you want to think about in getting a space heater is how much energy is it going to use and how much is it going to cost you. The other setting that this has, it's called Eco Mode. I have it set to 72 degrees, and that's the temperature setting. When it reaches 72 degrees, it will stop at that setting. But if I'm only in the room for just a few minutes, I can feel the heat coming out of this vent. It warms up in about 2 or 3 seconds, so it'll put out nice warm air. The room itself stays at about 53 to 55 degrees, so this room really does stay pretty cold. Now, if I want this room to be hot enough to take a shower and be comfortable, I use my phone app. And with the phone app, I can turn it on in another room, make sure this door is shut. I can put it on H3 to give it plenty of power and give it about 20 minutes to bring this whole room up. Then I'll put it on temperature mode and make sure that it's at the right temperature. On the phone app, it tells you what the ambient temperature has come up to in the room. So it'll tell you if your room is warm enough. If you started out at 53 degrees and you bring it up to 72, that's going to be fine, at least for me, to take a shower in. And that is very handy. And when you're all done, all you have to do is turn it off. And it has a 30-second timer that it'll shut off. It cools off those elements while it's shutting down. One of the really nice features I liked about this heater is that it comes with its own pattern for drilling the holes in the wall in order to mount it. And on that mounting board, it has a level, so you can make sure that it's perfectly straight across and nice and level when you put it in. You put 2 holes in the top and you hang the top, and then you put 2 brackets in the bottom and 2 holes in the bottom to fasten up the bottom, and really it's very solid. I mean, this isn't going anywhere. Most of the features we really like about this, that it has a remote control, that it has a phone app, and the phone app tells you a lot of information about the heater. It even tells you how long you've had it on, plus the ambient temperature of the room. What I don't like about it is that it only has pretty much 1 fan speed. You can't control the fan speed, and I wish it just had maybe 1 through 3 fan speed so you could speed it up or slow it down the way you want it to blow air out of it.
Okay, so we solved our cold bathroom dilemma with getting the small wall heater from Dreo. But there's another area of our house that was giving us cause for concern, and it's our 20-year-old son Daniel's bedroom. Come upstairs with us and we'll show you what we mean. Welcome to Dan's bedroom. This is a corner room, and it's definitely a multi-function room. So he's got great grandma's rocking chair in here, so where he can sit and think. It's right next to his desk where he does some of his schoolwork. But the big thing about this room is you've got 2 windows, but you've got a big window right next to where he sleeps. He sleeps on the top bunk of that bunk bed. So he is right next to where all that cold air is coming in through the window. This is where we needed to do some thinking about like where you needed the heat to go on in the room when you were looking for a space heater. This room was kind of tricky because we did need something that was lightweight enough that he can put it on the floor next to his desk when he's studying. But we really wanted it to be stable and to be able to be small enough to go on top of a desk so that the air will then go straight over to that top bunk where he's trying to sleep at night. We also wanted it to be able to take it from one room to the other because most time during the day, he's either at work or he's at school. So Larry and I wanted to be able to take it from his bedroom into our small office and heat our small office during the day too. We liked the size of the heater and we love the functions. We're going to show you how it functions in a minute. One of the things that's really nice about all of the Dreo heaters is they are incredibly quiet.
Now this one is set for 72 degrees, and then as soon as you're in temperature mode, it will automatically be on eco mode, which means it's only going to use the amount of energy that you need to get this room up to 72 degrees. This does not have a phone app, so you don't have access to all the information that you would have with that wall heater, but that's okay. You don't have to have all of that. This has a fan-only mode, and it only puts out at 1 speed, so you can't change the speed of the fan. So in the summertime, if you just want to use this to cool off a little bit, you can if you want to. I don't think I would use it as a fan because it just doesn't put out a lot of air. It's designed for putting out heated air. This is the high power mode, H3. There's a plus and minus button up on top here. So if I hit the minus button, it'll go to H2 and then H1. You notice the power, the speed of the fan slows down when you get to those slower power levels. So it is going to use a lot less power. Here's another heater feature that all three of the heaters we're going to show you today have, and that's a timer function. This allows you to set a timer so that the heater will run anywhere from 1 to 12 hours and then shut off. Now the one that we were showing you, the wall heater, that has a 1 to 24 hour time shut off. So the way that works is you hit this button up on top that looks like a clock. It'll show you 1, and as you keep pressing it, it adds an hour. If you don't want the time function on at all, you just go to 0, and then it'll just be on until you manually shut the heater off. It's a very nice function. I would highly recommend when you get this heater, get out your owner's manual and go all through it and look at the features that this has in order for you to be familiar with how it operates. The timer mode is something we were really looking for in a heater because we wanted a heater that would shut off after a certain amount of operation time.
This heater works great in a small area or as like a personal heater when you're sitting at a desk or something like that. But what if you have an area in your house that's very large, very wide open? How do you deal with that? We had that same problem. Come with us to the living room.
This is the living room that Hope was talking about. And as you can see, it is a very long room. And I'm not even showing all the part that's behind me. So it is huge. And it also has an adjacent room to it, our dining room. Let me follow Hope here around and I'll show you where the dining room is. And this is our dining room. So we wanted to be able to heat both rooms at the same time and give our guests plenty of warmth.
Here's the reason that we told you that one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, where do you want that heat to be directed when you're looking at a space heater? Because in the case of like Daniel's bedroom, we needed it to really heat two completely separate areas at completely separate times. If he's studying at his desk, it needs to be near his feet. If he's laying in bed, we needed it up a lot farther because he's on that top bunk. In this case, we realized that for this large space and the way that we use it, we wanted to have a heater that was a tower heater, which we've never had before, by the way, that directed heat all the way from the floor level all the way up to about 4 feet high. This really fits the bill, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. It is Drao's MC706. Before Larry tells you how it functions, I got to tell you my favorite thing about this heater. It's not just a heater. It's a heater and a 12-speed fan. You know what that means? It means that I don't have a place that I need to store this when winter is over. It can sit right in place, and it goes from being our heater during the winter to being our fan during the summer. And I don't know about you, but like in Illinois, you get those weird in-between days when you need a heater at night, you need a fan during the day, during certain seasons of the year. This is absolutely perfect for that.
One of the nice features about all of the Drao heaters is that they come with remote controls, so you can control them from across the room without having to get out of your chair. This one is very nice to use in the living room and dining room because it spreads the heat out nice and evenly. It uses the same amount of power as even that small one used. The highest speed actually on this one in power mode is H5, so it has 5 power modes. The first mode starts out at around 800 watts, and the top mode ends up at about 1500 watts. And I measured all of these off with my kilowatt meter, and I found it to be very accurate according to the information that was in the owner's manual. The nice thing about this tall heater is it has a very secure base. This is a base that came in 2 sections. You just have to put it together. It clips in place, and then it clips onto the base of the heater. And all of the heaters come with a quick start guide, and the quick start guide will tell you how to put this base on so you can get the heater running in about 10 minutes after you've taken it out of the box.
Larry liked that the base was easy to put together. I like that the base was wide enough that it does make it so this is less likely to be able to be tipped over. Now, it does have a safety feature. If it tips over, it will automatically go off, but this does have a little bit of weight to it. It's heavier than either of the other 2 heaters that we showed you, so you want to make sure that you're not going to easily be able to tip it over. Here's the best part, because it is being used between 2 rooms. Oscillation, guys. You push one button up here, this little kind of half smile button. Automatically, it will go to 90 degrees oscillation, but you can set it so it goes all the way up to 120 degrees oscillation. It makes it so that people who are sitting at the dining room table, maybe chatting, eating, playing board games, can stay nice and comfy, while those of us sitting and drinking coffee in the living room can also stay comfy, and it just goes back and forth between the two rooms. I love it. Couple more things I really like about this heater. One of those things is the fact that it is nice and tall and slim, so it can fit in small areas. Let me show you. Thanksgiving dinner, we put it right here in this corner. See this little corner? It just sat right here. We were at the dining room table and it kept us nice and comfy. But you might think, oh, but it's really close to your dining room table. It was close to our dining room table, but you know what? It's really quiet. It was really funny because after dinner, some of our kids finally said, oh, look, the heater's in the corner there. It was so quiet, they honestly did not even realize that the heater was on during Thanksgiving dinner.
For you that are tech-minded, this measures 25 decibels of sound when it's running, so it really is very quiet. And it has all the same modes as the other two heaters that we were showing you. It has the eco mode. You can set the temperature, you can set the countdown timer, you can do all of those with all three heaters, so they're very nice, and we really are enjoying them.
There are links to all three of these heaters at the top of the description of this video. And look for the special coupon code that Dreo made available to Under the Median viewers, and make sure you use that coupon code to save on your purchase at Dreo. As we mentioned when we started this video, using space heaters judiciously throughout the house and for specific purposes, it's just one of the ways that we keep warm without raising the thermostat. If you want a list of 24 more ways that you can keep warm without upping that thermostat, we did a video on it. That video is right over there. Go watch that video next.